grade them. Then I have another terminal. By the way, I don't think, this is a little bit of a lie, because when I type Mongo up there, all the commands down to here are running with a caret because you're running inside of the utility. I would have had to have hit Control-C before I could have run Mongo export. It's a different utility. It's not a piece of the Mongo, it's a second utility.
Kurt, can I ask you a question? If we're using the same database as before and nothing's really changing, do we really need to stop the service?
Probably not, no. Yeah, for one reason, if you manage to keep your host system and your VM running, you wouldn't have to, yeah. I have had trouble twice now trying to like run one of your programs, and it tells me that Mongo's busy. And I try stopping it, it doesn't help, so I rebooted my VM and it worked. So I've been forced to reboot twice. So then open a different terminal. Now this is running your app. So you move into the directory wherever you installed your Express app. You do an npm install if you haven't already. Do an npm start, and then you open your browser to 3000 or some other funny number, depending on who you are, how you coded it. This should have a 3 there, obviously. That should be a 3000. And then this should here be exit Mongo, then do.
Do you know how to remove a table?
Why does it say terminal 1, terminal 2? Oh yeah, this should be saying terminal 3, that's why I'm confused. That should be the third. So I wound up with 3 terminals. One running Mongo database, one running the Mongo utilities, and another one running the application. Now you wanted to remove what?
Like a table. I just have several. I have a collection with 3 tables in it. It's a get collection names, and it shows me an array with 3 tables.
No, I mean, I just look it up. But it's got to be something like user collection dot remove. You got 3 tables inside of that?
Yeah.
So it's probably, you know, db user collection dot table dot remove or something. I don't know. But maybe if you just put the name of the table there, it would work. Otherwise, maybe it's name of collection dot name of table dot remove. I would try that too. This is not my data. So, yes. Save So, do I actually have that? Yeah, because I actually have somebody's app running right now. Order maker, that would be his. He's not here. Good, we can pick on him.
He said he was going to make it the prettiest in the whole class.
He's gonna do what?
He was gonna make it the prettiest of the whole class.
The best.
Oh, the best. Is that what it was?
Both.
The best. The
Prettiest, best.
Prettiest and
All of
best. Can I see
So, I've only gone through, I think, and tried to run 2 of the projects that people submitted because they were in, and years I was too unclever to figure out how
Because I
to
renamed.
get downloaded. I can read the files up on
Oh.
GitHub, so I could cut and paste and recreate the whole thing, but I don't know. Let's just take questions for anybody that's stuck, that have any problem. Is there if you've already turned it in and it all works, good. Let's figure out how to help those who haven't. You haven't turned yours in? And are you stuck for some reason?
Yeah, I don't know how to set up the routes page, and I'm getting some 404 error also when I try to display that.
What was the first thing you said you could?
This routes page, I have a lot of things and I get an error in displaying.
insert those into
The request query.
Yes.
Is it in the control browser side?
Well, let me see if I can find the same thing
The
here.
object with all the data in it.
Okay, so that being said,
Anybody know how to change the font size on
Yeah,
Web store?
it's file settings,
File?
yeah, settings,
okay, so to link it to these things that I need
editor.
to tie it to that one, right? Salesperson ID is-
Colors and fonts, second
It
one.
looks like you're getting from accept to one of these body query.
Oh, it's query. I was wondering where body came from.
It'll load, you can choose the font and then save the font.
So that's changing the font. You think I can change the size there?
Yeah, but it will take some time to load the page, I think. Then you will have the option to choose the font size.
If you click on that down arrow on the left-hand side under colors and fonts, you should be able to see the.
Yeah, now you can change the size. First save as, click
Yeah.
on save as.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, why am I clicking on save as?
Because you're
Okay.
doing a copy for yourself.
You can't change the default. You have to change your own, so you have to do it as a save as.
Yeah, so this would be your copy.
Thank you.
And there you can, yeah, that will.
So we have to do it here too.
So, you're over on, you're in the middle of your code trying to push up the data you've created, is that where you're stuck? So,
Okay, so here. Is that right?
I don't know if this code's gonna be.
I see something right off. It's pointing to rec body when it should probably be rec query.
Oh, this one runs.
Oh.
It's not hers.
Oh,
I was trying to find a similar lines of code that maybe we could see what she was doing was not doing. So, all right,
Keys,
let me
right body.
push that on the stack. Who else is stuck with what problems? You're stuck.
I was able to get it to do a single record that combines all records, like multiple records at once.
Right. And which
I'm good in, undefined
No, that's not
I
right.
couldn't figure out how to do that link.
So what file are you in?
because I'm
In
using
my control.
So in control, I don't think you have anything called DBs.
No.
Okay. So both of these are, I think, are specific like bugs, and I'm gonna have to probably look at those to figure it out.
Over here was
I was kind of hoping for a higher level problem, that maybe we could talk about, like, is your structure right or wrong? But those are probably just simple bugs that I'll have to look at.
I have a problem with just playing. And I don't think the database.
So now you're in the.
So this is the index router. This is the post for the multiple.
So yeah, that's still there, and then all these are from
Where's your
regular, and
handler
then
for- I made
collection, and then.
So that is right. Mark
variables.
Yeah, when I was working, John Carrigan
Here.
found it as a comp.js file.
Okay. All that's
Make a
correct.
regular
Number type.
And then put it into a
My
folder
controls.
object.
So
Right.
input
I
ready.
tried to display it. There's no
When I
What's
do,
in that wrap?
well, that would be,
on my, this would
that
be.
was
Right.
So you want to make an
Doesn't
object
show up.
that pass to the route.
That's,
So
that's,
whatever you call it.
I'm gonna have to look at your code.
JSON.
Thank you.
Is that?
So, I guess if you're stuck on a bug that's not making it working, make sure you submitted it.
the request query.
Give me some hints as to what your bug is, and then
So I'm
I'll
just
see
kind
if I
of
can
preloading
debug
all
it.
the bars like we did.
Um,
in John's class.
Now, how many people got it to submit multiple orders? You did? Well, he did. Where'd he go? He left?
He's right there.
Oh, there you are. You don't have to move over there, but you're gonna have to pay for registration if you're gonna sit two places. What's going on? I'm just teasing. You got yours to loop, right?
Yeah.
And he got his to loop. So, what is the general structure of how you looped?
So I actually have two loops. One on the server side client code. So when you post add items, I give it you send it a multiple, like an array of items, and then I loop through it on the server side before inserting each record individually, one at a time. And then the
I would
collection.
consider that like outside the scope of what you were supposed to do, but it's interesting.
And then on the other side, say you just loop through all of the entries or create
I think the problem that I had when I was trying to do this myself was, it was easy to create a form and submit a form. And I couldn't figure out how to put submitting a form into a loop.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's the problem.
Oh,
I actually my code that I did, I don't like it. I used to like that. I actually was using the old, the new user page, I just had that one already there. I was using document get ID, get my name, try to do it that way.
I think the event.prevent default is what stops the form from refreshing the page.
I think it's because the,
prevent default.
when it does the form, it says action goes back to, it doesn't say go back to the user.
If I remember it, that's what
Yeah,
Charlie was
try
saying.
prevent
Event
default.
default.
The
Prevent
parameter gets
up,
passed through.
it stops the page from refreshing
Try putting a,
Right, because the
prevent
default is
default.
To refresh.
that page, right?
try that. For me though, I used a simple jQuery handler, or you could use document get element by ID, a click handler on a button, and I don't use a form submit at all. And then just whenever that click, the button click happens, I create 450 or however many, I actually have a number that they input, times through the loop. And then I loop through it that many times, creating an array of items. And then I post the array to the server.
Okay, so
And then
both
the
your
server
ways are
loops
sort of not in the spirit of the homework of 450 events. You created one event holding 450, or you send it up to the server and
Said
let
I
the
could-
server.
And then I programmatically, randomly set the time
Right.
to within the time frame with,
That's still.
I was kind of having problems
Yeah.
with setting that random default, or the random timer.
right, but it
Generator
said that
thing.
we
Well,
could do
if
it
you
that way.
use math random, I have the math, I have the random part, like math basically another area, and then you have to make sure you're grabbing the right data though. You have to make sure you're grabbing the right piece of the data to get before you do it. That's the issue.
So the looping I did was I got a number of orders from the user, and then I made sure that was integer, and then I looped through the whole big thing where I called get JSON to send it to the route, to the server. And so that whole thing was only doing one order at a time. And so each time you came back from the server, then you started the loop again.
Oh, wow. How did you do a callback on the, each time it came back from the server?
Yeah, it was with callback, so I haven't completely understood. Yeah, some of the messages
So there's a callback
all.
from the server, and then it runs again in the loop.
So, yeah, it's looping as fast as it can, and so since it's async, the callbacks, several of them came back at the same time at the end, so.
So I imagine is on your timestamp, are you grabbing the timestamp that's like right now as timestamp?
For the timestamp, I did the random, I started,
Oh.
I got the current timestamp,
That you fake time.
as
Okay.
number of
As in, say, otherwise it's-
milliseconds, and then I did a random from 2 to 7 seconds. But at first, they were all coming back with the same current date, but then I realized, oh, you gotta stick that number back in as an input to the get date thing, whatever, I forgot the name. But, so it ended up doing one at a time.
Okay, so I'm gonna sort of, we're gonna move on and assume that you have orders up in Mongo, and at some point I'll even give you the file. But before this course is done, I want you all to have a working copy that works, okay? So we'll go back and forth a few times, you know, I'll try to find a bug, you try to find a bug, and then I'd like to get them all running. Okay. I certainly don't want to try to debug this here. My skills have been so bad at all. Sitting at a desk without. All right, now I would really like this screen to. I think what I'm going to do is just log out of this guy. And go back over to this machine.
Yeah, he does redirects to this. He redirects you to this when you do it that way. I may let me not do it, nothing else, and have that just put my list of things on my layout page to do it, just as real quick list.
Oh, okay, so it's the one-page app. That's what I do, the one-page app. I don't have to switch the pages.
But I didn't know.
There's this tutorial, at the bottom of the first tutorial, there's
Yeah.
a link, creating a simple RESTful web app with Node.js. And it's like, it says in here, the sequel to this tutorial. And so I ran through that, and that created some REST routes, and that was really helpful as I did homework.
Okay, good, thanks. All right, so now I'm going over to this.
Many times, Rich, still, I just did the date, literally the date, JS code. Like date parentheses, colon, semicolon, works for any time. If you're doing it, you're not doing one at
Oh,
once.
yeah, if you're getting, like, right now,
Yeah.
Yeah, the date is going to be the single most obnoxious thing, because how JavaScript configures a date and how Hadoop and PageDo and then how SQL do are really different. I hope I can have enough time to get out in front of you guys and find better solutions. Last time I gave up, exported it into Excel and used Excel to change the formats because it was